Hi everyone, Aidan here at etrailer. And today we're going to be taking a look at and later be showing you how to install this Redarc Tow Pro Elite brake controller on our 2024 Toyota 4Runner. Now a brake controller like this makes a ton of sense. If you're towing a trailer with a 7-way that has brakes, you need a brake controller. And this option from Redarc is awesome because it's going to work with a wide range of trailers, up to 3 axles, electric or electric over hydraulic brakes. And in my opinion, this is the cleanest way to install a brake controller because this knob is all you see. That's going to give you your settings to adjust your gain, to make it more or less sensitive, and give you your manual override by pressing it in. Now this kit comes with almost everything you need for that super clean install. For one, our 4Runner has the factory tow package, so it's already got the 7-way in the back, and it's a plug and play harness that's included in this kit to make the brake controller a very quick and simple installation. The only thing you'll need to do is run a ground wire, which there's plenty of places in here to do. But you've got these factory knockouts periodically throughout the dash, and we used this one on the bottom to install our brake controller. If you want it to look just like this and be a direct replacement for those factory knockout panels on your 4Runner, that is a separate piece. You can find that here at etrailer, and I would strongly recommend picking it up because it just makes the install extremely clean and pretty much effortless. This is going to be a proportional brake controller, which in my opinion is really the only way to go with a brake controller. That's going to mean that as you step on the brakes in your vehicle, it's going to match that pressure on your trailer. So in an emergency situation where you need to slam on your brakes, your trailer is going to match that. Or when we're coming to a very slow and controlled stop at a stoplight or a stop sign, it's not going to slam on the trailer brakes in a disproportionate way. The other thing with this is there is a user mode. They call it their off-road mode, so you can get it set and applied to whatever you want it to be, and it won't necessarily follow that proportional pattern. So if you are taking a trailer off-road, that mode can be really helpful for you. Now, as for that installation, it is really straightforward. Everything's pretty much plug and play. But the one thing I'll say is that it's cramped. For as big as the 4Runner is, the footwell under here, it just doesn't leave the most room. And if you're a little bit of a bigger guy like me, you might find certain parts pretty uncomfortable or just hard to manage. If that is something that maybe deters you from getting a brake controller in the first place, don't worry. You can use our dealer locator tool to find an installer local to you to help you get that brake controller installed. And if you decide that this is the right one for you, we'd love to hear a review or a comment on this video to let us know how you're liking it and showing us the trailer that you're using to tow. Aside from that though, if you decided you want to tackle that install yourself, follow along and we'll show you how we got it on. We're going to start our installation off near the driver's seat here, and we're going to pop out this bottom factory panel just using a flathead screwdriver to push in at the top and pull it out. This is where our switch for our brake controller is going to go. This is the perfect spot for it because it'll just pop right in whenever we get the knob in there. We're going to take the knob end of our brake controller. It doesn't have the outer face on it yet. We're going to wait for that, and our smaller cord, and just go ahead and plug it in real quick. We're going to put the white plug to the white end here. Make sure you hear it click into place. And I'm going to feed the other end of this wire down through that pocket that we just exposed and go underneath for the rest of the install. And we'll just leave it there for now. Now I did a little off camera here just because we wanted to plan a good clean route for our wiring and figure out where we wanted to mount the brake controller. The one thing you need to really watch for is the ground wire. Since this plug and play harness is pretty easy to just plug into the unit, I did want to find a good way to route this ground wire. And what I resolved to do is go behind this panel here and out the bottom into the threshold because we'll have plenty of metal to ground into right through here with a self-tapping screw. It does require the removal of this door sill plate right here. And all I had to do for that is grab something like a plastic trim tool, get under the inner edge here, pry up, and work my way across until the whole thing came out. I've got a couple clips here that line the whole backside, and a couple white clips here that go in the door sill. where you mount your unit depends on where you're comfortable with, but we found that you've got the most room right about here, just above your dead pedal. If we place it pretty far back, it should be out of the way of our foot when we're driving normally, and it's thin enough that it's not going to get in the way of our emergency brake or our parking brake there when we do depress it. So what I'm going to end up doing is just self-tapping into the plastic there, maybe grabbing some double-sided tape to hold it in place for me. But for right now, I am just going to plug in the ends of my harness. And the end just above where we have that brake controller placed is where the vehicle side of that plug is going to be. So I'm going to get that plugged in as well. So now that we've got that vehicle end plugged in, I'm actually going to go ahead and plug in the end from our brake controller to the other side of the unit at the same time. Make sure we hear that click or feel it. And I'm going to get all this wiring cleaned up, zip tied up out of the way, and secure the unit to that side right there. Now, after a lot of fighting in a small space, I did get everything mostly secured up. We just used some self-tapping screws to get that unit mounted straight to the sidewall here, just above the dead pedal like we talked about. And it does clear with that emergency brake with plenty of room. I use a zip tie here that I'll trim off to tie up all the excess wiring for the vehicle plug that goes to our unit, the little adapter harness here. And I do still have the wire that we fed through at the very start all completely loose. None of this is tied up yet. It is plugged into the unit, but what we're going to do is get the little panel adapter here for our 4Runner attached, fed through, and once we know it's secure, we can tie up all that excess last. Now, to get our little switch in place, we're just going to get it aligned properly so that this section is face down. You'll know because when you go to put this over, if you've got it upside down like I did, it's just not going to sit in there evenly. So get that lined up. We're going to take the clear insert here and thread that on. Now this, you just don't want to get it super tight. You need to obviously have it so it's not going to go anywhere, but it's really not much. Now from there, I'm just going to get it a little bit more. You want to turn this silver dial all the way to the left, anti-clockwise, as far as it'll go until it doesn't turn anymore. And what we can do is take the dial here that has all of our numbers, get the 0 aligned at the top, and push it on. Now already you can see we're getting a little bit of power there. That's great. You see I can't turn it any further left, and as I turn it further to the right, it should stop at that 10. Perfect. So from there, we can get the rest of our wire fed down. We've already got it routed. We'll just need to secure the excess, and this whole thing can push into this panel right here. Of course, we don't want to forget that ground wire. You can take a self-tapping screw and secure that down. And we can reinstall that panel. But with all that slack zip tied up out of the way, you're good. You can hook up to your trailer and test things out. You should see the dial start blinking blue and green here, mostly green, but once you see that, you can go through and do the initial calibration settings and basically just drive it around a little bit, let the unit figure out its orientation and positioning, and that blinking light will go away once it has been calibrated. But you can always just reference your instructions to find those exact instructions. But in our case today, we have our silver test box hooked up to simulate being hooked up to a trailer, and we use that basically just to verify that when I hit the brakes and when I hit the manual override here, that we are getting activation and proper function. But that'll do it for a look at and installation of the Redarc Tow Pro Elite Brake Controller on our 2024 Toyota 4Runner. My name's Aidan, and thanks for watching.